In this video, I'm going to show you how you can create a dynamic color palette for your Power BI reports as themes. So something like this, where you can use slicers within your Power BI reports to change the theme of your dashboards from dark mode to light mode, or any other kind of settings that you might want. We're going to look at this step by step together so you can follow along as well. All of that and more. So without further ado, let's get started. Hi, my name is Fernan, and welcome to the Solutions Abroad YouTube channel, where we cover tips, tricks, and best practices when working with Power BI. I upload new videos every week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to get notified when a new one is out. So this video was actually inspired by one of the posts that I saw on the Power BI subreddit, which presents a really cool way to dynamically switch the theme of your reports without actually managing the JSON file behind it. So this is the post, and as you can see here, you are able to switch between dark and light mode, but also choose the palette for all of your visuals. So either from, different selections like this, or choosing between dark or light mode. And being able to dynamically change your reports themes from dark to light mode is actually something that I covered a long time ago. Years ago, in fact. However, since I made that video, Power BI has changed a lot and a lot of its features have been improved. One of them is the ability to conditionally format a lot of the different properties that you can use on your visuals. So today I want to revisit that solution and make it a little bit more dynamic so that it's not just toggling between dark and light mode, but also give you the opportunity to change and add more color palettes for you to choose from if you want to. So here's a very basic report that I've already created ahead of this video. So it's a basic version of the preview that I showed you earlier. So this is what you would typically create when you're creating your first dashboard. So we have a text box here with the title. We have some cards here, which shows some values in our measures. We don't need to look at the measures themselves because that's not the topic of this video. And we have a few bar charts here that we want to show. So total sales by product category, and then the sales by month. So in order to create a dynamic color palette for your dashboards, basically what we'll rely on heavily is the conditional formatting option that you have for a lot of these visuals. So what do I mean by that? So if you click on the card here, for example, and let's open up the format pane here. When you look at, let's say, the callout value here, which is the color of the text on our card, as you can see here, we can choose the color of that font, or we can conditionally format it. Now, for now this means now this means that now this means that for now this means that we have to be mindful of all of the visual. So this means that we have to be mindful of what visuals we use, and we have to make sure that we can conditionally format those values. Just because while Power BI has had its fair share of updates, so a lot of the properties can be conditionally formatted, not all of them can be so, which might change in the future. So for example, here you can see that you can conditionally format the card, which is fine. However, when you go to some other things, like for example, let's look at the canvas background, for example, where you can change the color of the background, which would have been useful. It's 100% transparency here. But we can conditionally format this. So this would have been a really cool thing to be able to do, but you can't do it. So we'll leave it to the default for now. So we'll need to replace that with something else that we can conditionally format. Another thing as well is the text box here, which is obviously something that you just use the text box bit here on the home ribbon. However, the like the background, you can conditionally format the color of these texts. They're simply static by applying the font color here. So there's no way for you to add any logic in it. So let's start by replacing some of the things in our reports that can be conditionally formatted. So let's start with this text, which we can actually replace by using the card, the new card here, which we can put any value in the data well. It doesn't really matter. But what we're after is the title and the subtitle element of this visual. So we'll turn off background on this. We're going to turn off the callout value as well as the label. So we'll leave that blank. We'll also remove a bunch of other things here like the border. And if we go now to title and subtitle, this is what we will use as our new kind of header. And the reason for that, just to reiterate, is the fact that we can add a conditional formatting element to this visual, whereas we can't do that with the normal text box. So we'll just copy and paste this onto this title. And it actually copied everything. So I'm going to just remove that and then put the rest in the subtitle here. Like this. We'll also change that into Arial. We'll make it bold. So now we can adjust the text color conditionally formatting like this. So we'll leave it there at the top for now. And that should be it for now. So the next thing that we need to look at are the visuals. And the important thing to think about your themes or the color palettes that we want to change is what elements of these visuals we need to make sure that can be conditionally formatted when we do the palette switching. So for example, in a card like this, we want to be able to change things like the border color or the background color of the card itself, the font color of the text, the callout value and the label. These are the properties that we need to check and make sure that we can conditionally format, because sometimes you might not be able to. So before this video, I've already checked that a lot of these properties can be conditionally formatted. So callout value, for example, can be conditionally formatted. Label can be. The size, background, and visual borders can be. So we are going to hook that up with a calculation later on. Same thing with the bar charts also. So the only thing that I had to change was the line chart here, which used to be this one. So it used to be a line chart of sales by month. However, with the line chart, if we just flip on that real quickly, if you look at the lines, as you can see, you can't conditionally format the colors as of now. So just bear that in mind, that there might be some elements that you can conditionally format if you want to use this method. So for now, we're going to leave it to bar chart because I know with the bars, you can do that or conditionally format that. So the last thing that we need to deal with now is the background, which is basically the canvas background, which we can conditionally format. So the easiest way that I know to solve this is by simply adding a shape behind all of our visual elements. So the important thing to know about this is that you can adjust the shape style here, the fill of this shape, which lets you change the color of the background. So if we change that to, like, let's say a gray, we'll make it as big as the canvas. And then on the selection pane, we just put it at the very bottom of our layer, just so that it's on just below all of our visuals. So now we have a way to adjust and change the color of all of the elements that we have in our report. So the next thing that we need to do now is to create this palette that we want to use for our kind of dynamic dashboard. And the thing with this palette is that it needs to contain all of the different colors that we want to change for every single part of each of the themes. So for example, let's say we want to have a light mode. For this light mode, we want to keep some properties like what should the background color be, what should the bar colors be, what should the font colors be. And that's important because if you have a light mode and a dark mode, if it's a dark mode, you need the font color to be lighter and then vice versa. So you need to keep in mind a lot of these different things. So what I've done is I've actually created a palette list here of the different modes that I wanted to use, like the ones that I showed you at the beginning. So what it has is a list of the different modes, different backgrounds and foregrounds, the border of the visuals, the title, the main title, and then any of the subtitles, as well as the bar color, so the actual bar chart colors. So as you can see, it can be a hexadecimal code, or it could be just a straight up color name. Power BI will recognize both of these different types. And what we need to do is simply load this into our report, hook it up into our conditional formatting, and then test it out. So let's do that. So let's copy this table and let's go to modeling. Let's create well, actually, let's go to home and let's enter a new data. So we're going to paste that. We'll call this palette for now. And we can do loads. We can just leave them all as text because that's, I think, the only important thing here. So now we have the table loaded up. We simply need to hook up all of our settings into these modes. So let's start by looking at this title that we have. So we have the title and subtitle. We want to change the text color based on our palette. So we'll change the format style to field value. And from here, we'll look at the setting that we want to link the font color to. So in this case, it's going to be the title one. We'll leave it as it is like this. And if you hit OK, you will see no difference. And that's because we haven't actually added a way to swap between, the different modes yet. So what we're gonna do is let's hook up the subtitle as well, just so that we can see it and how it will look like. So field value under palette, we'll change that to title 2. So take the color from the title 2 column. And then, okay, so now what we'll do is we can add a slicer in our report here. So we can add, let's say, the mode. We'll change that into a slicer new like this, so that you can choose between these different options. And as you can see, the color of the title changes based on our selection that we make here. But nothing else changes because we need to hook them all up into our palette so that they all also change based on our selection. So let me put this back to normal. And let's make that change and update all of these different visual elements. So let's look at this card, for example. Let's change a few things here. So let's change the border. Let's change the background first. We'll do field value. Under palette, we'll choose the foreground, the visual border, field value, palette. We'll do the border. And then under the callout value, we'll change that to the title 1. And then for the category label, we'll change that to field value, title 2. So as you can see, change the what setting you're using, the color of that card also changes. So if you have multiple cards, you can just simply use Format Painter to copy all of those changes. So now both of these different things change. So I'm going to fast forward this video just so that you don't spend all of your time watching me change all of these. But all I will do is basically go through all of these different color elements and replace them, hook them up with our palette that we have created. And there we go. So as you can see, we now have a solution that lets us change the palettes of our Power BI dashboards dynamically using a slicer here. So at the moment we have the cool palette, but if you change that to a dark mode, you'll see that a lot of our, or all of our visuals will change to accommodate for this dark mode, and then the light mode, something like this. And the benefit of doing or creating your kind of color palette dynamically like this is that you can, if you want to, let's say, update your color palettes, you simply update the table that you have created. Or if you want some new modes, you just add them here as new rows with different colors to change all of those different color elements and change them dynamically. And that's really it for this video. I hope you now know how easy it is to create a dynamic color palette for your Power BI dashboards. Thanks for watching. As usual, give this video a like if you found it useful. Give it a dislike if you didn't, something to do better for next time. Ask your questions in the comment section box below so I can help you and you can help others. If you like this video, we have a Patreon page where you can support the channel and get exclusive perks like early access, demo files, and credits at the end of these videos. Thanks again for watching and see you in the next one. Bye bye.